February 2024. I went to Universal Studios and Universal Islands of Adventure for a marching band trip. On that trip, I went on Velocicoaster. Before, people said it was great, but I had to find out for myself. I went on every roller coaster except one. But I feel bad for whoever didn't get to go on Velocicoaster. Opening June 10th, 2021, Velocicoaster stood tall, dominating the skyline over the lake at 155 feet tall. Now 155 feet tall may not sound that tall compared to my other videos about Cedar Point, but something about being on the top hat, with a lake to my right and the trees to my left, made this roller coaster feel like I was on top of the world. But for now, all you need to know is this: top speed, 70 miles an hour, max height, 155 feet tall, manufacturer, intimate. Let's start with the entrance. Walking up to this ride is one of the coolest things you can experience. The only other thing that's kinda similar is like walking up to Steel Vengeance, but even that can't be compared. Once you get inside the building covering the queue, there's a bunch of really neat lights. Now it probably doesn't sound like much, but compared to Cedar Point's queues, this is what Velocicoaster looked like. I didn't capture videos of the entire queue, but what I did capture is really outstanding. Like, take a look at this. How is that even possible? In one of the rooms, they had fake velociraptors that looked really realistic. While I was in this room, the ride actually broke down because of rain, but being in that room made the breakdown fly by. I didn't get videos of every room in the queue, but what I did get, I'll show you here. After the Velociraptor room, you go into a locker room. What? No, not that one. I'm talking about, well, a room full of lockers. More specifically, most rides have bins that you put your loose items away in, but others have lockers they have to pay for. Fortunately, the lockers in Universal, including Velocicoaster, are free. That was really nice for me and my friends. The lockers are kind of like how they are in Steel Vengeance, where you put them in one side and get them out through another. After the lockers are metal detectors. After the metal detector, you go upstairs, and this is where the fun begins. There's one giant TV. Well, actually, it's 6 normal-sized TVs, but they're all playing an add-on to Jurassic Park. I don't know if you can call it an add-on, but they use the same characters, so call it whatever you want. Anyways, this video explains the theming and the technology, and what I can understand is that the Velociraptors got loose out of their cage and are chasing you throughout the forest. It's either that, or you are a Velociraptor running through the forest. I don't know, this is over a month ago, but either one is still pretty cool. Technically in this same room is a station, but you don't really notice this till you get towards the end of the line. The station is actually really cool. It feels really open, if that makes sense. If I can find a video, I'll put it here, but I have to put my phone in the locker. I'm gonna tell you, this was one of the coolest moments of the trip for me, because seeing the forest thing for the first launch was actually insane. Plus, I live in Ohio where everything is dead, so the forest looked really green and jungle-like, and it actually looked exactly how it did on video. Now that I think about it, I don't know what I was expecting, but it's still pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, I did not get to go front row either times I went on Velocicoaster. The first time was because it was raining and had slow operation, so they wouldn't let you pick rows. And the other time was because I was in the single rider line, and I'll talk about that more later. But I still did ask for front row. They said no. Now we're going to talk about the actual ride, like the review or the layout and the ranking. First, you sit in nice seats with a weird lap bar over the shoulder restraint. If you're confused, it's what's going on top of row 2. Anyways, we were off, and I was so excited I can't even describe it. Then we made a left turn, I think. I'm sorry, it doesn't show the POV and I forgot. And then we stopped, and for some reason we rolled back a little. I don't know, but all I know is that it reminded me of Top Thrill Dragster connecting to the catch car, so it made me more excited. I'm weird, I know. Then the launch. The launch is probably second or third favorite for me, right behind Maverick and Backlash Stunt Coaster at Kings Island. Then you go up this weird curved top hat thing. It doesn't really give you much forces if I'm being honest, but then you dive into a cave, which honestly I didn't even notice until I watched a POV. It was just all the adrenaline. Next up is an inversion, and this was actually pretty cool. It gave me some good hang time. After this, you kind of meander and do some curves through rocks and dodging dinosaurs. And if I'm being honest, this was kind of boring, but it's a cool gimmick and really nice theming. But it wasn't really intense. Although, my first time riding it, it was a nice build-up for what was coming next. The snap to the right was pretty forceful, and I enjoyed that a lot more than the rest of the ride so far. And the hill right here was very nerve-wracking because I watched the POVs, and I knew what was happening right after this. The launch. And let me tell you, first, this launch was insane. Remember when I said the launches were second or third best for me? Well, I was talking about this launch. The other launch is definitely like third or fourth. It was nice, but Backlash Stunt Coaster is better. And number 2, as a Maverick fanboy, not stopping before the launch was definitely weird. I kinda dig it though because it kept the pacing alive. Anyways, this launch was great. The weird thing is that the launch only made you go like 30 miles an hour faster. That's one Kings Island Woodstock Express faster. This is how much faster you go. It may sound like I'm complaining, but I did not notice this. It felt like a 50 mile an hour increase. I'm just shocked of how little speed you gained. If you've never gone up a top hat, then you're missing out. The top hat was amazing. Like I said in the beginning, it felt like I was on top of the world. You don't have a single care in the world at that moment. From the POV, it looks like you go flying up the top hat. And that's exactly what you do. This second launch really divides up the coaster into 2 parts, the bad half and the good half. Now we're in the good half. After the launch, you go into a 155 foot tall top hat. After unsuccessfully trying to rock back and forth to get a rollback, we plummeted down 140 feet, which like I said in the beginning is surprisingly short. You know, the more I say, the more I realize Universal got a coaster with such bad stats to be amazing. Like, everything is less than it should be stat-wise, but when you're on it, it feels so much better. But this was my first top hat ever. Well, technically, people call Steel Vengeance second hill a top hat, but, like, come on guys, look at this. I feel like the only reason we call it a top hat is because it's too good of an element to call a hill. But anyways, this was my first ever top hat, I guess, and it was amazing. After the drop, you go into a 0G stall, and this was fun, but short. Didn't really have much forces, but I don't really know what I was expecting. It's just 0G stall. After this, honestly, you just kind of go in a bunch of circles. And it's not that fun, but the adrenaline is making it fun. And then the Mosasaurus roll. Dude, seriously, if the rest of the ride was not great, then this just made it great again. I made the mistake of putting up my hands during this, and I slapped, and I mean slapped, my friend next to me. The second time I put my hands down because I was sitting next to a little girl. But this just comes out of nowhere, like, I swear. It's like, top hat, well, that's cool, 0G stall, that's nice. Bunch of circles, a little weird, but okay. And then the Mosasaurus roll, and this thing is so good. This single-handedly, along with a bunch of other hands, so not single-handedly, put this coaster at my number 3 ranking. And Backlash Stunt Coaster, baby. The only bad thing about this element is that it's pretty much the end of the ride. Like, once you hit it, you go into a brake run. So that's the Velocicoaster. But I did go on it a second time. This time I went in the single rider line. If it's your first time coming to Universal and you only have a little bit of time, go single rider line, even if it's with your friends. I went with friends and we went in the single rider line. We waited the entire line together, which was way shorter, 1 hour to be exact, with a 3-hour normal wait. Jeez. But single rider does work. I got on Hulk 3 times with single rider, and the longest wait was 20 minutes. The bad thing about single rider is that, number 1, you don't get to see much of the queue, saw the cool things I talked about, like the realistic velociraptors and the train fly by. You don't get to see that. And number 2 is that you don't get to ride with your friends. But come on, why would you even want to ride with your friends? Like, all you do is talk to them. You're going on the same roller coaster after all. It's not like they're different. And I know you don't talk to your friends, like, in the middle of the ride. The only time I can think of talking to them is on the lift hill and on the brakes.
Sounds right.
And I know you're not like, oh my, that turn is really cool. Oh my, oh. To your friend. Even though that's exactly what I did on Velocicoaster. No one heard me. So that's my review of Velocicoaster. Overall, one of the greatest roller coasters I've ever been on. I don't really know what I rank it yet. It's either in front or behind Steel Vengeance, but I still like Maverick better. Don't judge me for that, by the way. But this is going to be the end of the video, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. It took me forever to write this script and to record it and edit it. So please like the video, and you can subscribe if you want, but if I'm being honest, I don't really care about that. And thank you for watching.